rather than walking around crying about why are conservatives so homophobic, transphobic, biphobic, every other type of phobic, you should ask yourself, why are you so interested in altering a child's genitals? I think this book needs to be in every college classroom. Hey all, that boy woman tea is back. Today's video is going to be quite controversial. I am going to be giving awareness to people that are often said by mainstream media don't exist. The people I'm talking about are detransitioners. These doctors are basically like, think of that friend or that person you knew in college, let's say, that had a really bad drinking problem. The people that were enabling him or her were not their friend. Anyway, the first detransitioner that we will be reacting to and talking about is Larel. He definitely had gender dysphoria. I will say that. There are people that say that detransitioners, the problem is that they were never trans or that they never had gender dysphoria. I highly disagree with that. I definitely believe Larel, as well as many other detransitioners, did experience gender dysphoria, but it was not treated in the appropriate way. And I actually have Larel's book right here. You are awesome, Larel, and I'm only about halfway through it right now, but it is amazing the way he really goes in depth about his experience and why he transitioned, why he was experiencing gender dysphoria. And it is just really, really amazing the way he put this all together. I really, really urge you to buy the book and read it for yourself so you can see what I'm talking about. I don't want to give anything away or spoil it for anyone, but it really is a masterpiece. And you really have a talent, Morel, for articulating yourself well and putting your feelings, what you went through, your experiences into words. And you really created a masterpiece. And frankly, if you ask me, I think this book needs to be in every college classroom, in every college campus, in every college university. It should be in every college campus. Part of going to school is you should be able to listen to different sides of an argument. The way things are now in colleges, they only want to present one side of an argument. And I mean, there are people that transition does work out for. I'm not denying that, but I'm also bringing awareness to there's people that it affects them very negatively. They have very negative health effects that they have to live with for the rest of their lives. And students should be aware of this. Most colleges wouldn't do this unless there's a non-woke university, but most colleges today are indoctrination centers. I agree with the conservatives that say that very much. He's truly a brilliant mind that, like many other detransitioners, he was in a vulnerable place, a result of his experiences, a result of what he went through in life had caused him to go down this road. And he truly has awoken, and he sees he has done to himself, and not just himself, but also his family. And with that said, let's listen to what Larel has to say.
I'm aware of this. They need to see the pain and suffering that exists on the other side of these surgeries. More detransitioners need to be heard, need to make their voices known, need to make it known that this is the reality. The reality is not that you give people hormones and surgery and all of a sudden they're happy and get to live the rest of their life in peace and love. That is not true. I am seeing a tremendous number of people who have gone down this path and had the surgeries only to seriously regret it and live with such extreme grief. And we'll never know the extent of how many people regret the surgeries. This is something that is so hard to live with that I bet a very large percentage of the suicides that we hear about and see, I bet you that person was struggling with some sort of gender identity issue inside that they never let out.
I completely feel the pain in his voice as he says this. While I'm not Larel, I could sense and feel the pain and regret he feels over the changes and what he has done to his body. When you have that awakening like Larel, what happens when your body's mutilated? What happens when you want to return to your birth sex and you have parts missing, you've made alterations, there's just things you can't go back on. This is another reason that I truly respect people like Blair White, Buck Angel, Marcus, and a few other non-woke trans people. They're not part of the modern ideology of transitioning is wonderful, you should all do it. I like that they have given a voice and spoken out about detransitioners, and I really respect them all as people. And I should mention that there are other members of the LGBT community that have spoken out in support of detransitioners. One of my favorites, actually, Amir Odom. He is so awesome. Go check out his channel. I love watching you, Amir. You have such a nice energy to you, and you always present information in such a kind and diplomatic way. Let's react to what he has to say.
That's who we're going to talk about today, because more often than not, we're hearing from the LGBTQ community and the trans community, hooray trans people, yes, support them, support trans youth, they know that they're trans, when the whole time there is a growing segment of this population that regrets all the medical things that they have done.
Exactly. Exactly. You see tons of information everywhere in schools and doctors' offices and hospitals about transphobia, and it's transphobic not to promote transition. I also want to bring awareness. She's pretty well known in the detransition community to Chloe. She's spoken out a lot about this. Her parents basically fell victim to being asked, would you rather have a dead daughter or a living son? And she has now detransitioned back to female, but there's permanent changes that Chloe unfortunately now has to live with. And I realize there are many other detransitioners that I have not mentioned in this video. And I know it won't be possible for me to react to all of them. And this is a community that's going to keep growing because trans healthcare, unfortunately, is experimental. And not saying anything bad about Jazz Jennings, but if Jazz's surgery with all Jazz's money from reality TV was severely botched and Jazz had to keep getting surgery after surgery. I believe Jazz has been operated on about 4 times in terms of bottom surgery.
If you don't have to cut this, why would you cut that? We can just advance it to there.
Jess, let me go.
But it doesn't make any sense. Why do you need to cut that?
Because this is a disfiguring scar.
How do you know it's not a disfiguring scar? That's just a sulcus. These are the two labia. I mean, you may be right, but we don't know.
Anyway, the point of this video was not to direct hatred at anybody, whether you're trans, gender non-conforming, or just currently and always have been in alignment with your birth gender. The point of this video was not to direct hate at anybody in any group. The point of this video was to present the other side of the argument. Another detransitioner we are going to react to is Abel Garcia. Abel had went through some trauma in his life, which led him to possibly believe that he was transgender. He had underwent therapy. He was affirmed rather quickly. His mental issues were not properly explored in therapy. and hormones were basically just pushed on him like many other people. And I do recommend you check out his channel. A link to his channel will be in the description box, along with many of the other detransitioners I'm discussing. And I'm going to show a scene of Abel where he actually meets with Walt. Walt is another male detransitioner, so male to female, back to male. Walt had actually lived for 8 or 9 years of his life as a transgender woman. Unlike Abel, Walt had the full bottom surgery. He's come to regret it. He has a website now, and I see that he also has a movie coming out, and I will put a link to that movie also in the description box. And I really disagree with the ideology that a person is going to die if you do not immediately affirm them and get them started on surgery and hormones. That's like telling a woman that wants really big. Anyway, with that said, let's react to what Abel and Walt have to say. And let's roll that clip.
I was given a therapist. This one, she did not know how to handle anyone who was transgender. And after a few sessions with her, she transferred me to her supervisor. On my first session with the supervisor, she had told me that I was, yes, a transgender woman, and she had my letter of approval so I can start hormones the same day.
On the first session of meeting with his therapist supervisor, she had a letter of approval ready. This is what I mean. Anyway, let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I had asked her why was I approved so quickly, she told me she did not want to gatekeep me at all.
Yeah, that's the term they use, gatekeeping. What they really don't want to do is find out for what reason are you trying to erase who you are. That's the question I always.
Exactly. Walt said that perfectly. As a therapist, you should be trying to figure out the root of this condition. Why does this person feel so misaligned with their gender? Why does this person feel estranged from the sex they were born as? To just say, oh, I don't want to keep you from transitioning to the other gender. Here's your letter. And like just hurrying up with the process. I don't know. That is just, that's not medicine. That's not medical treatment. And again, I respect you so much, Abel, and I just feel terrible that they took advantage of you when you were in a vulnerable place. And what they did to you, that's unfathomable. Unfathomable. Oh my God, I can't even speak. Oh my God. The next detransitioner we will be reacting to is Jade. Jade is a really sweet young woman, and it sounds like she went through severe bullying in her lifetime, which is never okay. And she was wrongly led to believe that she was a transgender male. So let's see what she has to say.
Until I become a whole different person than I would love myself. That was my thought process because I hated myself. I mean, I felt regret before it even happened. So I had originally been in therapy for social anxiety and OCD because I struggled, and I told my parents that I was struggling, and my sister. I could not function. I could barely even speak to people. My rituals were unbearable.
So she went through a lot of mental struggles. And again, why are these doctors not addressing the mental struggles? You call yourself a doctor and you're not addressing the mental issues behind this. You're just affirming everything the patient says. What type of condition just allows a patient to call all the shots? For health reasons, I've been told I need to lose weight. And honestly, it's very hard for me to lose weight. And I begged my doctor to give me Ozempic, and they've said no. I really want to take it so bad, but my point is, my doctor's not just affirming, okay, you want Ozempic, here it is. I don't understand with gender ideology why it's just being given, whatever the patient says. Anyway, let's continue with Jade.
They're just kind of like, hey, I'm Dr. Whatever. This is the nurse who was a transgender man. I'd say he was probably in his early 30s. He was very aloof, just not very warm or inviting. And he was the one that was going to show me how to take testosterone. But before that, he kind of laid it out on a table. I'll put a picture here. He left me in a room with about 3 or 2 pieces of paper. They were stapled, they were printed. The first 2 pages were kind of an introduction to being transgender. It was like a gray picture of people with pride flags or whatever, and explaining being trans. And then the 2 pages after that did not say anything about fertility. It did not.
So, it sounds like, again, this process was rushed, and she's given a pamphlet on an introduction to being trans, and there wasn't even any information in there on fertility. That's why I could understand when conspiracy theorists say that this is part of the way the global elite want to lessen the population. If you start kids on these drugs early, they're going to become infertile. Anyway, with all that said, there are so many detransitioners that I still want to react to, but this video would be never ending if I tried to get you all in here. But there will definitely be another detransitioner video coming out in the not so far future. I hope I opened your minds up a little bit and you see that there is a whole other side to what the mainstream media is talking about. They love to say it is so rare for a person to detransition. It is not. It is not. That is the world we live in today. Thank you to those of you who stayed till the end of this video. I really appreciate your support. As you could see, I hope I opened your minds up a little bit and you see that there is a whole other side to what the mainstream media is talking about. They love to say it is so rare for a person to detransition. It is not. It is not. And what I really can't stand is it seems like every second the liberals are crying about, oh, there's a new anti-LGBTQ law that conservatives are pushing. Oh my God. Most of them have to do with putting a stop to puberty blockers for children and to ending unnecessary hormones and surgeries on children and teenagers. Rather than walking around crying about why are conservatives so homophobic, transphobic, biphobic, every other type of phobic, you should ask yourself, why are you so interested in altering a child's genitals? And I also wanted to take a moment to give a very special thanks to my bro Peter. Once again, he has helped me make this video the masterpiece that it is. And I truly urge you to go check out his channel. I know I gave you a lot to check out in this video, but yeah, he's a truly awesome, non-woke person, and I mean, honestly, well, if he was woke, I don't think he'd want to edit this video. I mean, that would be kind of weird. The video would be getting him angry if he was woke, but, okay, now I'm just being funny, but yeah, you should definitely check out his channel. Much love to you, Peter. I hope your subscribers keep growing, and I'm sending you tons and tons of positive vibes. And yeah, so much love to you, Peter, from one of your favorite YouTubers. Anyway, that is all I have to say on the topic for now. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for all the support, and much love to all. Bye, bye, bye.